This is a picture of my father, Forrest, and mother, Mary, in front of an airplane that Dad bought in the 1950s. He learned to fly late in life and had a real passion for it that I inherited. I soloed on my 16th birthday and got my private pilot's license on my 17th birthday. Our family flew a lot. The airplane was parked in our garage. Our driveway was our runway, and the airplane that my sister and I grew up in was like the family station wagon. That was one of the, and early on I mentioned I selected farming as a career because I enjoyed working outside and working hard, but I also enjoyed flying. I didn't want to move too far from the farm and move away from aviation. It's just another aspect of the Fiorini family farming and flying operation.
How many acres do you have, Brandon?
Enough to keep us busy.
And these trees here are what, almonds?
These are 5-year-old trees. We're in the Turlock Irrigation District to our right, and to our left is outside of the district, an area that is dependent almost entirely on groundwater. We're about halfway through the almond harvest right now. The nonpareil variety, the first variety that we harvest, constitutes 50% of the planted acreage here on this ranch. You can see the windrow of almonds that have been knocked and swept and will soon be coming through with a pickup machine. Once they're picked up and placed in trailers, they're delivered to the central loading area where they're elevated into a truck with hopper trailers. The nuts are then hauled to a huller where the hull and the shell. So the almond, when it's harvested, is in the hull. We deliver the nuts to the hulling processing facility to remove the hull and the shell that are both byproducts used for dairy feed and bedding and energy creation, and then we end up with the nut, the meat. This area to my left is what used to be in the old days Mustang Creek, which flowed out of the Sierra foothills and made its way all the way to the San Joaquin River. It's been interrupted in many places upstream as agriculture has developed in the foothill regions, but there's still some amount of flow, and we've worked with local conservation agency. It turns out to be good wood duck habitat, and so somewhere out here scattered around in strategic places are wood duck boxes to promote that particular population. But it's basically a dead-end slough now because of all of the development that's occurred both above us and below us. So we're, as part of our farming operation here, trying to preserve this little stretch and voluntarily do our part to try and improve the bird population. There's a couple of quail just below us. Is also really good quail habitat in the brush that has fallen in this channel. Gophers are a rodent problem in almond orchards. We employ the use of owl boxes. One straight ahead of us is an example of what we put up to attract owls to take up residence and to help manage the gopher population. They're very effective on gophers. We have a lot of ground squirrels here as well. As you can imagine, with an orchard full of nuts, it's a target-rich environment for ground squirrels. I don't know how effective the owls are on the ground squirrels, but if that's part of their diet, they certainly have a lot to choose from out here.
So what's involved in the harvesting of the walnuts? Is it mechanized, or is it all human labor? Or
It's become very highly mechanized. When I was a kid, we literally used rubber mallets to beat the limbs to knock the nuts off onto canvas, and then pull the nuts up off of the canvas into a trailer to haul them to the hauler. Now we have very sophisticated computer-driven equipment that shakes the tree. We no longer capture the nuts on canvas, but employ very, very clean, weed-free ground conditions to knock the nuts onto, that are then swept into windrows and picked up with a mechanical pickup machine. So what used to require maybe a dozen people, we can now do with 3 or 4. The dozen people used to be able to handle maybe 150 to 200 acres. Now those half a dozen people that we employ today can handle 5 to 10 times that much acreage because of the mechanization. So almond, what's the correct pronunciation? The dictionary says both. I grew up calling them almonds, rhyming with salmon. Seemed like the right pronunciation. When I was at Cal Poly, I was at my freshman year, I lived in a dorm that was about a half-mile walk to the cafeteria. And I remember one evening, one of my neighbors in the dorm was asking, I know you're a farmer, what do you all grow? And so I said, we grow almonds. And so in the course of the half-mile walk to the cafeteria, he was asking me all these questions. Is it a tree? Is it a vine? Above ground, below ground. So I answered his questions and described as best I could what an almond was. We got to the cafeteria. He says, that sounds a lot like almonds. And he was dead serious. He didn't recognize that I was describing the same thing that he was aware of under different pronunciation. But I hesitate to share this, but I will, because I heard it so many times I got sick of it. My dad's favorite story was to tell people that when the nut is on the tree, it's an almond, and when it's on the ground, it's an almond, because you shook the L out of it to get it harvested. So. This is the last of several peach varieties that we will be harvesting this year. We're here to determine when's the optimum day to pick. There's about a 3-day range when they're ripe and ready to when they are beyond the optimum ripening stage. So it's a freestone variety. This will be going to the freezer, where they'll be sliced and individually quick frozen. You'll probably find this product in a Mrs. Smith's frozen peach pie as an example of where our production is headed. This orchard, it looks to me like, is about 3 days from being ready to harvest. We can easily find fruit that's ready to eat, and I'm going to share slices of this with my friend. But we have to have at least 50% of the fruit on the tree to a point where it's commercially ready, acceptable, ripe enough. We pick twice. We'll go through and ideally pick 50 to 60% of the fruit in the first picking, and then wait about 5 days and then come back through and clean up the orchard with the second picking. The energy used for irrigating This property is derived from the solar panels that were installed when we developed this orchard. The irrigation system utilizes canal water provided by the Turlock Irrigation District. Gravity flows to this ranch where the energy that we produce with the solar panels is used to drive the centrifugal pumps to pressurize the system. Water is applied through 2 drip hoses in every row, and the application rates are monitored by a number of factors: temperature, wind, evaporative losses, transpiration of the trees, to dial in exactly how much water we should be applying every week to this ranch. We also employ soil moisture meters that measure soil moisture depths every foot down to 5 feet. So it's a very technologically advanced system. An example of how most almond growers in the state of California are employing irrigation water. We happen to be one of the more fortunate ones to have a good, reliable surface water supply through the Turlock Irrigation District. You know, I've had the opportunity to chair a lot of meetings, a lot of different venues, and the role of being the chairman of the Delta Stewardship Council, I've always felt it's the balance that needs to be struck is to allow everyone to speak their mind, but to ensure as much as I can that the debate is fair and factual, and that people stay on point. It's many times a lot of emotion enters into these issues, and justifiably so. To try and tone down the emotion and emphasize the factual input really is what I strive for. We've had good marks over the years as a stewardship council in providing open, transparent public meetings, and we've built our reputation on that, and we hope to continue. We've got a lot of issues that are going to be very, very difficult to find solutions for. The more we can build trust among the various stakeholders, the better chance we have of landing in a place that is mutually beneficial for most of the people that are following us and on the front lines of whatever the issue is: ecosystem restoration, water supply, water quality, levees, levee integrity, risk management. These are all important issues that are actively in play right now and seeking solutions.
So does Schwarzenegger ever weigh in with you?
No. You know, in state government, it's not unusual to be appointed by a governor and then very seldom ever meet the governor or spend time with them. In my role as the Aqua president, we were promoting the passage of Prop 84 and Prop 1E, which were supported by Governor Schwarzenegger. And in that capacity, I did spend some time with him, different parts of the state, promoting those ballot initiatives. But I can't say that he ever acknowledged my role as a stewardship council member, other than through his staff and appreciation for being willing to devote my time to try and help out.